So we get to finally talk about none other than NintenDogs. This is one of the more popular games that came out for the Nintendo DS, and this is such a funny game. I remember playing this thing so long ago when I was like much younger, and the thing about NintenDogs, right, the whole concept of this particular game is to kind of have a pet or a dog or even a cat in some of the Nintendo, franchise, sub-releases that they made. Is the point of like having a pet and taking care of a pet without having to go through and actually own one of these pets. Now, this is so funny because the Nintendo DS, right, which was, very, very popular console, its second highest selling game ever was NintenDogs. So it was the various, games within the NintenDogs lineup, and it was just right behind New Super Mario Bros. Now, there were lots of Nintendo DS bundles that came with NintenDogs, but same thing with New Super Mario Bros. Too. And the thing I can tell you is that this game still, to this day, is still worth playing. It's still interesting, but there might be some drawbacks that might be, that maybe some other games may have nowadays. Now, I will tell you, I am not a person who, played NintenDogs every single day, but there was a point in period where I was picking up my Nintendo DSi in particular, and I just really enjoyed kind of playing around and keeping up with the dog that I actually had. Now, like I said, this game originally came out in 2005, so it's 20 years old now, which is so crazy. And the Nintendo DS was never like the most, graphically intensive gaming console, but even the way this particular game looked like, it looked really, really cool. So you were able to pick up and adopt your own dog. There were many different dogs you could choose from. You could go ahead and choose the NintenDog, like I said, there were many, many different ones you can choose from at that time. And the cool thing is you adopt yours, you go ahead and give it baths, you can go ahead and kind of do everything you would normally do with a standard dog. You could go take it for walks. There were so many things you could do to go ahead and kind of play around with your NintenDog. And it was actually really cool. Like I said, graphically, it didn't have the most highest amount of graphics for the Nintendo DS console, but the games themselves did actually look pretty nice. And I did think at that time, that was something that was really cool. I remember for me, I think I had like a German Shepherd or something like that in the game. And I think there was a later one that brought like a Shiba Inu or something like that. And there were so many cute little dogs that were within the game in and of itself. So just that right there was just so much, I guess, beauty inside of this game, because it didn't even have the most amount of didn't have the most highest amount of graphics, but it was really cool and everything was built inside of the game. Unlike games nowadays where you have to go ahead and there's DLCs, there's all these other things that you can pay for to get. You were paying for the game itself and it was bringing you everything inside of that game in and of itself, which was really, really cool. Now, there are some drawbacks within this particular game. Compared to games nowadays, this game doesn't really have the best amount of graphics of all time, and that is just one of those things to keep in mind. But for a lot of people, it probably doesn't even matter. They never really went through and reversed, they never re-released this game. They never really made a NintenDogs for the Nintendo Wii U or for the Switch, and I don't think there's really any news of another NintenDogs coming out anytime soon. And the other thing too is I wonder the future of this game. If you've never played NintenDogs before, I think this thing is really cool to kind of check out and kind of play with. But after a little bit of time, you kind of do the same thing over and over and over again. And there's only so much you can do at one point before you have to kind of put the DS down or put the game down and then come back to it at a later point. So a lot of these types of games are just kind of waiting until the next thing happens or until you do something else. You got to take your dog for a walk and things like that. It reminds me kind of like Clash of Clans, where you can pick it up throughout the day, play it for a little bit here and there and then put it down. It's not really a game. It's just kind of like a caretaker type of game or experience, and I do think it's cool, right? I think it's cool, and I think it brings me so much nostalgia, but I don't know if this is a game that I would recommend people to go and play if you're trying to find a game to sink your teeth in and play every single day. But I think it's a really cool little side thing to kind of think about if you're planning on, if you ever want to play, if you've never had a dog before or a pet. This is pretty good. I don't know if it's one-to-one exactly what it's like having a dog, because I've never had a dog before, but it's a very fun game. I remember, again, so many commercials, so many things I would see online about this game, and it was really cool to be able to play it. I don't know if this is a game I would come back to and pick up today and play with, but it is a really cool experience, and I would recommend every single person to at least experience it one time to see if it's a game for you. And maybe there's not a lot there, that much compared to games nowadays, but it's still a really cool experience, and I think everyone should be able to experience it at some point. So that's kind of how I feel about NintenDogs in 2025. If you have any other thoughts or questions, please let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.